Hey there, I'm Tom with mirrorless.com, and today we're going to talk about mid-range full-frame mirrorless cameras. The three contenders in the ring are the Sony a7 III, the Nikon Z6, and the Canon EOS R. Let's jump right in. Let's start with the a7 III and take a quick look at the spec sheet. 24.2 megapixels, 10 FPS continuous shooting, and a 693-point hybrid autofocus system borrowed from the A9. For video, you get 4K up to 30p and 120 frames per second in full HD.
It's got 5-axis in-body stabilization that equates to 5 stops of light, making those scenarios when you need to drop the shutter speed not so daunting. Keep the ISO low enough and you can expect a whopping 15 stops of dynamic range. Unlike its predecessors, the a7 III has a backlit sensor, making it even more sensitive to light for better low-light performance and reduced noise at high ISO. For you video shooters, the a7 III offers S-Log 2 and 3 and a number of high gamma profile options. You get 8-bit 420 internally and 8-bit 422 via HDMI. These days, I might expect more from a camera at this level. The battery is good for 710 shots on a full charge. Nothing to sneeze at for sure. Sony has had a lot of mirrorless cameras to work through and massage out any problems earlier versions had.
The a7 III strikes me as a capable do-it-all camera for photographers and burgeoning videographers. The only thing I'm not crazy about is the grip. It's a little small and my pinky wants to hang off the end. Next up, the Nikon Z6. 25 megapixels, 12 FPS continuous shooting, 5-axis in-body image stabilization, and a 273-point hybrid autofocus system. For video, you get 4K up to 30p and 120 frames per second in full HD.
The new system now has 5 native lenses and can use F-mount lenses with the FTZ adapter. We've tested the FTZ, and while it's a little clunky and sort of ugly, it works pretty well. Nikon says the Z6's battery is good for around 320 shots. For the money, you might lose some resolution, but you still get very solid performance when compared to its bigger sibling, the Z7. For video shooters, you can output 10-bit 422 N-Log via HDMI.
Coming soon, the Nikon Z series cameras will be able to output RAW via HDMI to the Atomos Ninja 5 for recording in ProRes RAW. This is the first time a mirrorless or DSLR body has been able to output a raw signal to an external recorder.
The ergonomics are great. The grip gives me a very full feel in the hand, and the electronic viewfinder is positioned so that I don't need to smash my face against the camera to get a good look.
The Nikon Z6 definitely gives the a7 III a run for its money. And finally, the Canon EOS R. 30.3 megapixels, Canon's 5655-point dual-pixel autofocus, 8 FPS continuous shooting, and for video, 4K at up to 30p and 120 frames per second, but at 720p.
It's got Canon's fantastic color science on its side and the fabulous growing selection of Canon's new RF lenses. We'll be looking forward to further additions to the lineup. The battery is good for 370 shots or 450 using the power save mode. However, for heavy video work, this camera might let you down. Sure, you get 4K 30p, but that comes with a 1.7 times crop, and if you want to dive into high speed, you need to drop down to 720 for 120 FPS, not to mention the painful lack of in-body image stabilization. All of that said, the EOS R will record 8-bit 420 internally and 10-bit 422 externally. You also get C-Log built right in. Thanks, Canon.
If video isn't your thing, then the Canon EOS R is still a viable contender. But in a time where video capability is becoming increasingly relevant to the average user, the EOS R still has a ways to go. These three cameras cover a lot of ground, but only one comes out on top. With their excellent track record and years of work to improve upon, Sony has delivered a top-notch deal with the a7 III. That said, just because we like the Sony doesn't necessarily mean that it's the camera for you. The Z6 is serious competition with specs to match the a7 III. Similar things could be said about the Canon EOS R. It's a great stills camera backed by the awesome line of RF lenses. Got an opinion? Leave us a comment and let us know what you think. And if you want to learn more, check out the blog or try these cameras for yourself at mirrorless.com. and thanks for watching.